You are now listening to the Inner Circle Podcast Network.
Hashtag No Offense uses strong language and is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised. Hashtag No Offense.
Welcome back to another episode of Hashtag No Offense. My name is Chris, joined by the lovely Duchess, and special guest tonight, this evening, we're joined by Mr. Juan Ayala from the Juan on Juan podcast. What's up, brother?
Hey, man, I'm a fan of the show. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude. Glad you reached out. I'm sorry we had to reschedule on you, but, you know, it's the end of days and whatnot, and, you know, things are a lot of moving parts right now in our lives, so I appreciate you being flexible with us.
Yep.
I'm just happy you guys were able to resolve the issue you had, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, yeah, everything's moving along swimmingly now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Don't jinx it.
Yeah, knock on this artificial wood table.
Say it is.
Let me go ahead and knock out some sponsors, and then we'll get into it, brother.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So each and every week, the Hashtag No Offense show is sponsored by Hemp Bombs CBD. Hemp Bombs is the official CBD sponsor of the Hashtag No Offense. I'm redundant as fuck.
Why? Oh, well. I'm used to be part of the D team. So.
Hemp Bombs is specifically formulated to provide consumers with a quality CBD product at an affordable price. The many benefits of Hemp Bombs include reduced anxiety, increased sense of relaxation, reduction of aches and pains, mood enhancement, and deeper, more restful sleep. Hemp Bombs come in a wide variety of different products, including oils, gummies, suckers, vapes, and even products for your pet. Use code HTNOS, that's HTNOS, at hempbombs.com and save 20% on your entire order.
Word
up. Stay relaxed during the apocalypse. We are also sponsored by Onnit.com. Onnit is a health and fitness juggernaut dedicated to delivering complete and total human optimization through a wide variety of products and supplements. Onnit combines cutting-edge science, earth-grown nutrients, and time-tested strategies to help people reach their peak performance. Alpha Brain, New Mood, Shroom Tech, the whole line, you know what it is. They just help you fire better. They help you fire better. Mm-hmm. They're not a miracle drug by any means, but they help you fire better.
That's why it's called a supplement and not a cure.
Yes. Vitamins for your brain, nootropics. Get on that shit.
Yep.
Onnit.com, ONNIT.com/HTNOS. Save 10% on whatever you choose to make yourself a better version of yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, baby. So, Mr. Juan, what's happening, man? How you doing this lovely Friday evening?
Bro, when I grow up, I want my podcast to be like yours, man.
No.
When I grow up? What are you talking about?
Yeah, man, I don't even know what to think anymore. Are we going to talk about it?
We talk about whatever you want.
What's that, baby?
Are we going to talk about the C word?
You know what? I'm gonna try my hardest to not harp on it, but I mean, I'm sure it's gonna come up. I mean, like that's all that's in our lives right now. You know?
That how y'all started talking?
Well, you know what? I'm glad you asked that, baby.
Because I don't know you. It's nice to meet you. I've heard about you.
Yeah, why don't
I'm happy to talk to you.
Well, why don't you tell us about your podcast, and then we'll go from there. What do you do?
I'm just another scumbag, man, that likes to talk about weird shit. You know how it is, and
I really do.
And so, yeah, shout out to the Simmons and More, right? Because he saw that I did that episode with Nick, and he tagged you on my post. And I had already reached out to you. And so I tagged you back and I was like, hey, bro, this guy's too good for me, man. I reached out to him and he didn't even write me back. He didn't even leave me on red. Like he just didn't write back at all. And I was like, all right, no, it's cool. It's cool.
Now, you know, see, I'm old. I don't know how old you are, Juan, but I'm pushing 40. So I don't Instagram well. And your DMs went into like a not even like a regular folder. It was like somebody wanting to contact you folder, like almost like a spam folder. And I'm like, I never even saw it. And then
the request.
Yeah. So then Adam hit me up, or he tagged me on your episode with Nick Hinton, because we obviously did the episode with Nick Hinton, and he was like, hey, yo, hit this dude up. He's in Florida, even, man. Like, you guys are close. Let's get weird.
Awesome.
And I was like, hey.
Florida man.
I said, yeah, let's get weird, man. And then sure as shit, I go in my DMs and I'm like, hey, he hit me up like 3 weeks ago.
Aw. Yeah, it wasn't you.
Yeah, so, I wanted to start networking and start doing things with other podcasters. Obviously, I started my podcast because I call it my personal enlightenment, where it's just this archive of weirdness that I have, and I've about almost a year's worth of content already done. And like you guys, we do this now. You guys release it already next week. I'll do one with somebody and I'll release it like 15 weeks from now. So it's like all the guests that I've been having on now, I've been like, hey, listen, man, before the podcast, I'm like, hey, we're not going to talk about coronavirus. All right. I can't be releasing coronavirus 20 weeks from now. You know what I mean?
It might be evergreen, man. I mean, like I ran out to get some stuff from Publix this morning, and she looked at me and she was like, "Is this just going to be our life now? Like, is just how it's going to be?"
Might be the new normal, man.
I said, "Yeah, I severely hope not, but I guess you never know."
Yeah, you know, I don't even know how to feel about it anymore. Obviously, you know about everything that's all the conspiracies that surround all this.
Sure.
And it's like I tell my fiance, I had done an episode on it, and I had told her, I said, let's start getting ready. Because I made a mistake. I was listening to Alex Jones, right? I'll be honest. I was listening to Alex Jones. You know how Alex is.
Gets everybody wound up.
He does.
But yeah, but the thing was, it was before all this whole panic. So we had gotten prepared before all this hit off. And I was like, hey, listen, babe, let's get ready just in case, right? Just in case. Let's start buying stuff little by little. We don't got to blow $1,000 on groceries right away. To start little by little. And we did. And then the whole toilet paper panic thing came out. And I was like, I had already gotten toilet paper. I had already gotten everything. And then this thing just blew up out of nowhere. And I'm like, I don't even know what to believe. And then you have people such as my father, who my father is diagnosed with MS. Okay. So he's scared about all this. He's diabetic, has MS, all this stuff. So obviously if he gets it, he's going to get murked. Yes. So I told him, and he's been on Facebook constantly. And the thing is, there's some people who don't know how to process information correctly. They don't know how to digest information correctly. So any little thing that they hear, they'll just completely oh, that's what it is, this and that. So when you have this this spreading of misinformation, and obviously you see that division, right? I talk about the reptilian overlords. This is what they want, right? They want to divide us. You have the people who take it too seriously, and then you have the people who don't take it seriously enough.
Right.
And again, I obviously, you being a family man, me being a family man, I have a family, we have to protect our own. That's what worries me. I'm not scared of the virus. I'm scared of the people.
Sure.
And what they're going to do.
No, yeah, that's with everything. And I mean, like you hit a lot of good points that we even talked about last week on our show when we kind of went into it. It's not that we don't think that it's real. It's not that it's a hoax. It's just, we were kind of going in on what the origins could possibly have been, and how it doesn't seem to be one of those natural things. And like you said, too, people are stuck in the house now and everybody's on Facebook and they're just, watching the news and they're continually getting fed all this stuff.
And they're getting scared and they're freaking out.
Just freaking. I mean, and I've even seen a change in you, begin with, you were fucking, everything's fine. And then today you're like, I don't want to do anything. Like,
I really don't. Like, it freaks me out because people aren't doing what they're supposed to do and it just keeps spreading. And then you got influencers or idiots that want to get likes on Facebook that are going to grocery stores and coughing on produce and shit or licking fucking toilet paper in the store. I mean, you never know what you're going to touch. It's supposed to live on shit for 24 hours. Like, it kind of freaks me out. And if I got it, it's one thing. Like, we have a 10 and a 5-year-old. I'm more worried about them than I am about us.
Well, they're bulletproof right now.
Well, I know because they're in the house.
Not only are they in the house, they're 10 and 5. They ain't the target market, man. No one ain't trying to cull that herd.
No, I know, but it's just like I said, you come home and you forget to wash your hands and you touch something and they get it because supposedly it lives on shit for a day. It's like
17 days.
Damn.
So up to 17 days.
See, it's like we have to quarantine our fucking groceries before we even use them.
I seen somebody asking for a video on that earlier. One of my Facebook friends was like, can somebody share me the video with the guy demonstrating how to safely bring in your groceries from the store? And I'm like, this is where we are. This is where we fucking are right now. As a society, you're looking for an instructional video on how to fucking bring your groceries in from the store. I mean, come on,
I don't think you can do anything safely. What are you going to do? If Lysol supposedly doesn't even work on this shit. And it's supposed to kill coronavirus, but it's this different strain.
Well, and I'm essential. So I'm out in the world every fucking day just living my life, just doing my thing. So it doesn't matter what y'all are doing. I got to come in. You don't have the big cloud thing like on Alien. I can't walk through the airlock and you just decontaminate me.
That might be something we got to put in the new house.
It might be just part of our life now, like you said.
Yeah, it sucks. I think they just need to come up with a vaccine, and then we can all just get shots and it'll be good, like smallpox and measles.
No, don't. Duchess, don't say that. The vaccine is going to be worse than the actual virus. So not to to play devil's advocate. So they did find that it can live on surfaces up to 17 days. And Iceland, they found 40 different strains of coronavirus, because obviously coronavirus is a blanket term for a bunch of different viruses. And so, that's that. My problem with all this is right now it feels like last week, it was like the general surgeon or something like that of the US was talking about, this week it's going to get bad. And I'm like, what, they're going to turn up the 5G higher or something? Like, are they going to, how can they predict that? We're 2 weeks away from Italy. How can they predict that? And you know what it is? It's these AI. It's the AI doing all these predictions and all these calculations and all this stuff saying, if the numbers are correct, you guys are talking about bringing in your groceries, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. How are we going to like the other day I went to Target. I felt like a piece of shit buying more than 1 gallon of milk. I felt bad because
I'm surprised they even let you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they did. But the thing is, I felt bad doing it. And not only that, but you do know how many people can't afford to buy supplies and groceries, right?
Sure.
That there's a lot of people like that, right? So that's the other aspect. They've already started breaking into houses over in Kissimmee over here.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. I'm locked and loaded, ready to go. And that's why I say we're mammals, right? We're human beings. We're mammals. And we have this fight or flight. And you know that there's, I believe it's bison over on the West Coast, where when these animals are frightened, they herd and they stampede. And they get so frightened, they jump off cliffs to their death. And that's the same thing with humans. We're mammals and we're in this fight or flight. We don't know what to do. We panic. It's this well, you call it the boogeyman, right? This invisible boogeyman. And it's like nobody knows where it's going to come from. I'm like lathering on hand sanitizer. I'm just like slapping the shit on like it's nothing, like I have race cars. My dad has race cars, and I'm just like taking like the M5 and just slapping it on and just like rubbing myself with it, because like you just don't know. If it's at the bottom of your shoes, you got to leave your shoes outside. It's on your clothes. You got to change your clothes when you get home. It's like,
it's everything.
If the statistics are correct, everybody will get it no matter what. And I'm not trying to say that to make people panic, but everybody's going to get it no matter what. Back in December, because they say this was around since October, back in December, I went to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. I got engaged in Tennessee, right? So I went up to get engaged and have this, family vacation. And dude, I was sick as a dog for 3 days. Had a cough, like a super bad cough. I had a fever that didn't go away for like 2 days, and had chills, aches, everything. I was like, and now that I think about it, I'm like, maybe I had this shit, because my son got sick too. And I don't think my fiance got sick, but we were sick, dude, sick as dogs, man. So I think I already got this stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we've known people too, like our friend Bobby from Simmons and Moore. He was out of commission for like a week just recently, and I was like, dude, you totally had that Rona. And he was like, it was horrible. He was like, same thing, chills, body aches. Like, he's like, it's the worst flu I've ever had. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you for sure had it, dude. But I mean, like, here you are, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how blown out of proportion, things have made it. And I didn't really want to go there again. I mean, which is fine. I mean, it's like I said, this is what's happening.
Well, things
it's
change
fine
daily with this stuff, because numbers have gotten bigger, because now people are going to get tested every time they have a small cough. So maybe the positive tests are coming back, and that's why they're saying the numbers will get bigger. I read that the CDC kind of botched the tests in the beginning, so they were doing false negatives.
So the tune of like 80%.
Yeah. So
false positives.
Yeah, that too. So it was like, it was all fucked up.
It's like false positive, but you're just asymptomatic, man. Oh, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And I know people who have it, right? I know of 3 people who I know that have it.
Oh, really?
And yes, I do. And it was funny because we'll switch the subject after this, because I didn't want to talk about it either.
No, it's fine. But what I was going to say was, like you mentioned that, I was kind of calling it, boogeyman flu last week, and that's just out of frustration. I'm sure everybody's frustrated at this point, but you don't understand like I can only imagine what guys like Alex Jones and Sam Tripoli go through, because you don't understand the fucking hellfire that got brought down on me. Be like, you're not taking it seriously, and you're part of the problem, and you're putting out false information, and how dare you be so irresponsible? And I'm like, I tell fucking, I try to tell jokes on a goddamn internet radio show. I'm not a fucking source of information for anybody. And if you're coming to me for your goddamn news, you got bigger problems. Let me just tell you that.
People would take the precautions they need to, then maybe we could stop it.
I'm giving my opinion, and my personal opinion is, yes, it is a real thing that is working its way through the population, but is it the fucking next Black Plague? I really don't think so. And I think that the effects, and I think that the forecasting is blown completely out of proportion. And that's just my opinion. Agree with it or don't, that's just how I feel.
Right. And there's serious cases and there's less serious cases, but no matter what the case, they're going to be documented as a statistic. So that's why the numbers are so high.
Well, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Right. Because if you listen to the mainstream, it's the mainstream, fake news. If you don't listen, you're misinformed. So I'm like, who the hell do I listen to then? You can't. You just. I told my dad because he was calling me panicking. Hey, what's the status update on the coronavirus, man? And I'm like, listen, dude, stay your ass at home is what you need to do, and get off fucking Facebook and stop, because he'll be scrolling and he'll send me an article. He'll be like, hey, dude, what? He'll call me. What does this mean? And I'm like, listen, dude, stop. Go read a book.
See, and you got like, my mom is the complete opposite. She's just like completely oblivious. Yeah, she's like, what are you guys doing? Like, you ain't. We're doing what we're doing at our house. Like, that's what we're doing. Don't worry about our house. All right, you stay over there.
Well, and then you don't know who you're supposed to listen to, because the CDC is government operated production. So that's the fucking government. So you can't listen to anybody. Everybody's run by the government.
See, and I feel like I'm falsely leading you now too, because you would have. I feel like 6 months ago you never would have made that comment, and now
I probably wouldn't have.
And now here you are, and I mean, part of me is proud of you, and like I said, you really turn me on when you start talking like that. But then the other part of me is just like, maybe I do need to dial it back a little bit, because like this is, to me, it's almost. I mean, it's changed my way of thinking, but it's still almost a form of entertainment. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Too many pieces of the puzzle fit together for it not to be conspiracy.
Thank you. God damn it, I'm glad you're here.
You know what really turns me on, Chris?
What's that?
I've gotten to the point in my life, I'll walk around the neighborhood, and when I see a pristine lawn, it turns me on, dude. Dude, do you know growing grass is a science?
Yeah, it's fucking hard in Florida. We're from Chicago.
It's hard, man.
Florida, you got chinch bugs and all the other shit that eat your grass. It's hard down here. It's hard out here for a pimp. Grow some grass.
For a lawn pimp?
For a lawn pimp. So you got to
Is this your guys' first house? The house you guys just bought?
No, this will be our second, but now we're in a townhouse that
they take care of
the
everything.
outside maintenance is taken care of. So that's why I was like, I should have that dad gene where I care about my lawn, but like I don't have it.
With a ruler and a pair of scissors, and
I don't
make
have
sure
it.
all the grass is
and
the
even when we did though, like I never really did.
I liked cutting the grass.
Yeah,
I always did the outside work. I liked pulling weeds. And
the smell.
Yeah,
It ain't
I
me.
love being outside. I love planting stuff. Our oldest wants to do a garden. I'm like, we can plant some citrus trees.
Now that we're gonna do, because and looping it back, I mean, like being self-sustaining, like that's I heard, I'm sure you probably heard the same thing that I did, because we listened to the same shows, is that like if the supply chain goes down, like it did back in the Great Depression, people were okay, because the amount of farming and the amount of people that like could actually provide for themselves was much higher. Now it's something to like 95% depend on fucking Publix. So when the supply chain goes down, then that's when you're going to see the real shit hit the fan.
Bitch, we're building a chicken coop.
I would have chicken coops. I'll be straight up. I'll be a whole ass Debo. I don't care. I'll have a chicken coop.
It would be hard to harvest, but I think I would be all right.
I'll have a chicken coop. And I mean, it's woke me up, like I said, and I mean, I don't want to get on like gun control, but I mean, I know you own firearms. And
maybe he could teach you.
I want to go and start.
Learn.
I want to take a concealed carry class. I want to get. I want to get firearms now. I mean,
you don't have a gun, dude?
I don't. I've never held one.
Yeah.
I've never held a gun.
Oh my goodness!
In all my 39 years, and I'm from fucking Chirac, player.
Take us under your wing, Juan. We need to learn about firearms.
Did I show you my collection, Chris?
You did not. You did not.
I did. I'm gonna send you a picture, guy. You're gonna see what.
Awesome. What do you got? You got like from pistols to shotguns?
Yeah, I got about 15 different guns. It's a little collection. It's not crazy, but
I think it's
pretty
a good
diverse.
Investment.
It is
definitely a good investment.
And it's something that I feel like, as to be responsible with and to have in the house. It's not, it's not like I want to go out and get,
AK-47.
the whole line. Yeah, I'd like to have some things at the house, just
Safety.
for the event that, or I don't want to even say the unlikely event because you just never know. But I mean, like the event that you need it, you have it. Because I don't want to come to that point and then you need it and you don't have it.
Right. We just need to keep them safe and teach the kids about them and keep them in a safe place.
Yeah, definitely have a safe, because since you have little kids and I have a little one too. But what you were saying about the whole supply chain, we're in the same industry, right? And we've seen it. Thank God, or whoever you want to thank that's up there and controlling the simulation, that we have. Obviously, you haven't been out of work. There's a lot of people who are out of work.
Sure. At
times like this is when I'm most busy, and it's kind of crazy. But I'm grateful for that I'm able to still provide. Because imagine not being able to, like you buying a house and not being out of work. There's a lot of people on that boat. And that's when desperation starts kicking in. That's when it's like,
Yeah, I forgot he told me, because you work with a guy that I know, because I work with Reed. So I know that you drive the trucks. You drive dry vans.
No, I have 15 trucks. So I have the trucks. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, when he sent me the name, I was like, oh yeah, I know that dude.
yeah. I've done work with him, and obviously I have other clients as well. And I'm grateful that we do have work through times like this. But we're living in such weird times, because it's like like what I said earlier, it's like you're scared, but then you're like kind of relaxed at the same time, and it's like you don't know how to feel. You just don't know how to feel.
Well, and the fact that I have been pretty much business as usual has kind of kept me more relaxed. But on the flip side, the fact that I know so many people personally that this has touched, like we talked about it last week, my boy Adam is completely, his house is shut down. All the guys from Failing Hollywood are completely shut down. I mean, even my homeboy Kaz that does Ohfishl Clothing. I mean, he runs his own graphic design. He runs his own, he's got, 3-4 hustles that he does, but he works for himself. And I mean, like in the time that we're in right now, I don't really think people are blowing him up for graphic design work. You know what I mean?
They're trying to save their money to buy food,
and his wife has a hair salon which is shut down because it's not essential. It's I mean, like everybody, I know a lot of people that are getting touched, and that's why I'm really trying my hardest not to be, but I mean, it's exciting for us because we are finally closing this house chapter. But I mean, I'm trying not to be like, yeah, woo, we're getting a fucking house, and it sucks for y'all, because that's not how I feel.
Right. But we have invited everybody to come live with us.
Yeah, well, I mean, Adam and Riley, I told them they can have the bunk beds when the kids get their own thing.
But they gotta be tested for corona before they come in the house.
I'm pretty sure Adam's got bigger shit going on than corona. I think whatever he's got dwelling in his body right now would eat corona.
You're probably right.
Because Adam is a dirty motherfucker.
And he has a baby too, right? You got a little one?
We do. No, Adam doesn't.
Who's the other guy? I forgot his name.
Jason Almy.
Jason.
He's got a baby.
He's got a
7
baby.
months old, 8 months old.
Something like that. Yeah,
he's little.
He's got a little
still.
one.
But they both work remote too, so that's good.
Yeah. I mean, and it's great when you have an industry like that where you can work remote. Like, unfortunately, like I say, we're still out on the streets, and it's getting a little bit as the days go by, it's getting crazier and crazier. I'm seeing less and less cars on the road.
Yep.
I went to Publix this morning. I saw less and less things there to buy. Like it's
got to find out what the restock day is and then go in there.
Yeah.
We just got to hijack the truck. But here's the thing, man. So let's stop talking about this shit. Let's talk about how I had Mark Sargent on my show, and I went to Kennedy Space Center.
Okay.
And I don't know how you feel about the flat Earth. Are you a flat earther?
No,
I can't do it. No, I can't do it.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But I had him on, and
here's the thing. I did. Here's the thing, though. I can't subscribe to it, but I
can't discount it.
Well, that's my motto for everything. Is I'm sure of nothing, but I'm open to everything. And while I won't subscribe to it, I'm interested in really like the whole Antarctica thing right now. I'm just super interested in like that whole, cause I heard I forget his name, and I've listened to the podcast twice. The guy that was a guest on Tinfoil that was talking about there's Antarctica bases and portals to the inner Earth and all that shit down there. And I mean, like, I'm a fucking dork for one, and I'm a 12-year-old, 40-year-old. So all that shit just piques my interest. I'm like, oh shit, like that's like some Indiana Jones shit. Like that's some shit that like you could make a movie in the 90s with Brendan Fraser, and you're going to the fucking journey to the center of the Earth. Yeah, I'm here for it. Let me tell you. And I watch all those alternate reality programs like Man in the High Castle and all that shit. So I started looking into Admiral Byrd and Operation High Jump and all that shit, and I'm like, that piques my interest. So while I don't subscribe to the theory, I'm interested in like looking into it. You know what I mean? If anything, just for entertainment value.
Yeah, so I've done an episode on Hollow Earth, and I did one on Flat Earth, and the next one's gonna probably be Hollow Moon. So
I've heard that too. I love it, dude. I love it.
So I went to Kennedy Space Center, and I because I love space, and you know I do astronomy a little bit. I got a telescope, I like looking at different celestial bodies and whatnot. And when I was there, I was like, man, obviously there's some dark shit with NASA, obviously.
Yeah.
With, Project Paperclip and all these Nazis that they hired, and they put us on the moon. That's the truth of it. But I said to myself, and I would look up at the rockets, and I'm like, man, this is a lot of work for it to all be fake. Because that's what the flat earthers believe, that
right.
that the planets are projections and this high tech. It's almost like the simulation theory, right? That they're showing us what we want to see in a way. And I told him, and he's like, well, it's hard for us to do it. And I was like, yeah, you're right, but I don't know. I'm not 100% with it. But then you have the Hollow Earth. I love that idea. It's like,
I love the idea of all of it. I love all of it.
Yeah, and I'm not a little green men alien type guy. I like the interdimensional aliens that can transverse all these dimensions, and I like those type, because I believe aliens are interdimensional. You know what I mean? It's and like I told you about the Anunnaki and stuff. The ancient astronaut, because on my show I go deep on ancient technology and ancient civilizations, and that's one of my favorite things, because you see the depictions of the same people over and over again at different points in time in different civilizations. And I don't know if you've heard of the haplogene X. Have you heard of that?
Surprisingly, no. So yeah, let's get educated.
So I'm still researching it, but I did an episode on Skinwalker Ranch with Ryan Burns.
Before all this shit popped off, we were making plans to go and take a trip out there. Me and Adam and Jason and Mikey from Failing Hollywood. We were going to go out there and do like a camping trip or a backpacking trip through Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, they've got a series coming out that we're gonna watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that too. But I mean, I want to go. Like let's
do it. Let's go.
Hey man, like we need to set up a group. We need to do that, because that's at the root of all this. That's what it kind of drives me, is that I need to be shown. I don't have a lot of blind faith in things and people, and I mean that's at the root of conspiracy theories. That it comes down to trust issues. Who do you not trust? You don't trust the government.
Everybody.
Do you not trust everybody? Do you not trust? I mean, like that's what it is, and I need to be shown. So I can watch all this shit on TV, and I can read all these websites,
right,
and I can have conversations with people like you. But I want to go. I want to go to these places, and even like not even like the woo woo places. I want to go to the pyramids. I want to go. And like see all these like other real places that have roots that might be parallel with the crazy shit, because
right.
I think crazy and that stuff are very close neighbors.
Well, I like ghost stuff, so I think the ghosts and aliens go hand in hand, because they did go to Skinwalker Ranch. And I know you don't like Zach Bagans.
No, he's a douchebag. See, and that's
they
what
went.
I don't.
They went there, and it was a really cool episode to watch, and they captured some stuff or whatever. And I know it's TV, and they can edit however they want. But it looked like a really cool place to check out.
And it's like everything. It's like the who's who of paranormal shit. Like they all go. It's like aliens, interdimensional. The actual skinwalkers themselves. They talk about Bigfoots there. Like they got it's like the who's who. Like if you're fucking crazy, paranormal, conspiracy theory type thing, you're gonna make your way to Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah. Like that's where you're gonna go.
So are we gonna let the listeners know what they're truly distracting us about with this whole coronavirus stuff?
I've been wanting to know, because that was what I was saying all along. What are they doing on the left while they're making you watch the right?
Well, it's right in our own backyard, and I told you about this. something you didn't know about. Right.
Oh, bro, I know where you're going with this. I know. Let's frame this up right, because we are two Florida men uniting tonight. Let's take this shit right down to the Florida stories.
Woo, doggy. Hey, Beatrice. Yeah? Get your ass in here. These no-offense boys about to do Welcome to Florida again.
Let me grab the natty.
Oh, shit, and I thought my family was fucked up.
So each and every week, our Florida stories are sponsored by Ohfishl Clothing. Check out ohfishl.com. That's OHFISHL, and use code HTNOS to save 25% off of your order of handcrafted T-shirts, hats, and jewelry made by the homie Casual. Ohfishl Clothing.
Live by your own rules, bitch.
Okay, Juan. Now tell me. I know you mentioned this to me privately, but we're gonna do it right. What do you got?
Does the Duchess know about this? Because she looks a little bit scared.
Well, I think probably because I just flipped over to my notes and she probably saw she probably saw what I had wrote there, because I knew you were going there. We didn't talk about anything. And you know what? Here, Juan, this is going to do nothing for you, but let me scroll down here and show you my notes. Look at all this stuff that I had for like later in the show, and how much did we already talk about?
Okay, well, let's just keep going.
I knew it, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited. That's all. Juan, tell her.
So here's the thing. First of all, ever since this started, how many birds have you seen in the sky, man?
Oh wow, you're gonna do that one.
But for real though, I don't see any more birds. Maybe they put us on lockdown to change the batteries on the birds. Who knows? That's just a possibility, right? Who knows?
You ever see what's that movie from the 70s? With the Greek mythology shit. Oh, Clash of the Titans. They had that owl. He was a robot owl and shit. Like,
yeah.
That's how them motherfuckers are.
So this all started with, I went on a camping trip recently, and I wanted to disconnect and get away from the whole 5G, because I believe 5G, if you know anything about, and this is why I get into the whole ancient civilizations, because these people, for example, the Egyptians alone, let's talk about the Egyptians, they were onto something. Such as Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was obsessed with the pyramids. Yeah. And he was obsessed with frequencies. And he even said it, once we start looking at the non-physical phenomenon, technology is going to advance more than it has in a decade. That's a paraphrase quote by him. And the Egyptians, I have a buddy of mine who does tours, and I was planning a trip to go over to Egypt because I love all that. But obviously, with everything going on, I can't. Right. And he tells me, when you walk into the pyramid, because we have no idea what the hell they were built for. It's 13-acre footprint of precision. It's 3/60th of a degree off true north, not magnetic north, true north. How did these people know about this? Right. Everybody says aliens. Some people say no. There's people in Egyptology. They say that the dynastic Egyptians took over, so that the Egyptians built it. No. They believe that the Egyptians found it and started using it. So for whatever reason, they built these over-engineered tombs, quote unquote, that they teach us in school, right? Mm-hmm. The shafts is for the spirit of the pharaoh to go up into the sky and all this stuff. It's all bullshit. Why? Because they've never found a body in any of the pyramids. They're all buried in the Valley of the Kings 1,000 miles south, right?
Well, and how about they won't? They've never even fully been excavated. Am I right? Like the
85% of Egypt is under sandstone. I had Brian Forrester on my show, and we talked about this. 85% of Egypt is still underneath the sand.
And the Egyptian government doesn't want you to excavate that. Am I right?
No. Yeah. So there's a lot of shady stuff going on there. And my friend, he's told me about all these stories, and he's been on my show a bunch of times, and they do a lot of shady stuff. So these people, when he told me, when he goes into the pyramid, he says the energy in there feels different. And what I was telling you about the haplogene X, Ryan Burns put me onto this. It's an anomaly that's traced back into those parts of the world and everywhere, the Mayans everywhere, where these people are able to see other dimensions and able to transform into other things, such as the skinwalker and things of that sort. And it's only like 1% of people. And so it makes you think, everybody talks about, where did the Mayans go? It's like, well, maybe what if the Mayans were able to tap into a certain frequency and as a whole civilization, astral project into another dimension. And that's why there's no trace of whatever happened to them. It's like they just disappeared off the face of the earth. And that's all we know of them. The Egyptians, the Hyksos, wiped them out, right? Who the hell are the Hyksos? Nobody knows. It's some people It's like, what?
I never heard of them since just right now. No idea.
Look them up. They
go.
don't know. They don't know who they are, but that's the official, right? So this is where we get into conspiracies. There's the official narrative, and then you have the narrative that you can follow the evidence, right? The evidence, and the Hyksos. Nobody knows who they were. They were just some nomadic people, and they just wiped them out and took over. It's like, what if the Egyptians as well? Because when he walks into there in the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza, there's a box, and that box you can lay in it, and there's a certain frequency that they hum, and the whole box starts shaking. It's like this solid rock box, and it starts shaking. And my buddy says he said he's laid in there, and he's like, dude, it gets so uncomfortable from it shaking because people start humming, tones, and it gets so uncomfortable you have to get out of the box. So this is my theory. What if the Egyptians were able to find this frequency and they were able to leave this realm, this dimension, and project into another place, maybe at a certain time of the day, certain time of the year, because we don't know what the hell they were built for. Right?
Yeah.
So who knows? And again, the Mayans and all these different people who just disappear off the face. Oh, there's no evidence of them anymore. Well, what if they were able to tap into some other thing and just leave?
See, and it's so funny that you went there too, because like I had a couple things that I had wrote down, and one of my notes was in ancient times there were these oracle chambers that were built underground, and all the sound in there resonated at like 111 hertz, which is supposed to stimulate your brain, like the creative part of your brain, and send you into like a divine state of meditation. And like all these different like frequencies. I had one of my other notes I had wrote down that I wanted to bring up was it's in 1955 the International Standardization Organization made 440 hertz the standard tuning pitch for music, and before that it was 432. And then the illustration that I had with this was the brain at the 432, and then the way that the brain looked after they changed it, and it showed the effect on brain activity to both frequencies, and it was basically telling you that like
worse at 144.
Yes, yeah, and it was saying how like music has this power to like affect our health and our minds and our thoughts and even like our consciousness, and they changed it. And why did they make that adjustment? You know what I mean? Like why did they do that? Because they want to keep us
at a certain
dumb
level.
to that, like turned off to that, you know what you're saying. And I'm so here for it, man. And it's so fucked up that like we didn't discuss our notes beforehand, and like they're matching up perfectly. I love this shit, dude. This is the simulation. This is the cube working.
It's no secret that the Earth itself gives off different frequencies because there's fault lines, and then the different kinds of rocks and stone that are in the Earth that give off certain frequencies as well. So put all that shit together.
You have, so we were talking about Skinwalker Ranch, right? The Utah Basin or Utah Basin over there. There's certain rocks that there are not found in any other place of the world except there. So who knows if these rocks, and again, there are certain in Mexico, there are certain, some of the megalithic structures are coated in a certain mineral that's used in computers today for transfer of data or electricity, whatever it was, we don't know. Right. So the reason I brought that up, so I went on the camping trip, and this episode could probably get wild because there's so many things that we could talk about. I wanted to get out of the 5G because at a molecular level, hertz can separate so a microwave, right? What does it do? It heats up the water molecules in food, and it heats it up, right? So it's the same thing. We're what, 75% water, 85% water? Sure. It's the same thing. So these hertz, if they affect the at a molecular level, if they have effects on molecules, what are they doing to us as a whole? Because if we zoom out, we're very small, right? And if we zoom in to ourselves, we're just a bunch of atoms making up a whole thing, right? So the reason I brought this up is because I went camping to get away from the air, because when you're camping, it feels like
it's different.
It feels different.
Yeah.
You can breathe better. You can sleep better. It's weird. So while I was laying in my tent, because I bought this cool ass tent that goes in the back of the truck, and I wanted to use it. Shout out to Jeff Bezos. Bought it on Amazon.
Don't shout him out. Don't shout him out, dude. I got mad beef with Jeff Bezos right now. Don't shout him out.
Fucking lizard man, bro.
The billionaire, real quick. My beef with Jeff Bezos. That billionaire is asking people to donate to the fucking Amazon workers GoFundMe when he's got billions in his fucking bank account right now, and he's like, "Oh, but help our employees, our displaced employees." Bitch, you fucking help them. They're your people.
Chris, I work for Amazon, so Amazon is a great great company. They give me a lot of
They are a
work,
good
and they
company.
keep me very busy.
I love them. I wish that he
Right.
wouldn't do things like that to make me go, God damn it, now I feel bad watching shows on Prime and one clicking my goddamn products
When
and
other
shit.
CEOs are cutting their salaries to pay their employees. And
That's-
then they took a pay cut from us at work. They knocked our salary down 2% or whatever,
Yeah.
a percentage for each 10,000 you make, and
Yeah.
you know they
Wow.
fired some people because of the pandemic that's going on, and it's
But,
you know,
but I mean, luckily
some
you
of us
still are
were.
working.
Luckily, I'm very happy to still have a job, but it still sucks. It didn't affect me as bad as other people, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying,
Right.
you know.
But I'm
So the
sorry, I
people-
didn't want to cut you off. You were in the tent.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, the people want to know. They're like, "What the fuck's this guy gonna say?" Because we keep going off on these tangents.
I knew it, dude. I knew this might have to turn into a 2-parter or something, man. Like,
Yeah,
knew
I
this
don't
is
know,
how it
man.
was
Whatever
gonna
you
go.
guys want to do, I'm down for whatever. But I'm in the tent. I'm in the tent, and I'm reading Ryan Burns' book because that was before I had done the episode with him. Right? I like to read people's stuff when I have them on the show and learn. So I was reading this book, and it was pitch dark, and I kept hearing these noises. Like I was reading the book, and it's about Bigfoot, werewolves, all this craziness, right? Interdimensional beings, and all this craziness. So I'm like, man, what if my mind? This is why I think we live in a simulation, because law of attraction. What if my mind's playing tricks on me? And so I kept hearing like somebody like stepping, right? Like the dirt crunching. I'm like, I pop up and I go, man, I bought a lot of dumb shit, but I've never bought night vision goggles. I wish I had some night vision goggles so I can look around in the dark.
I heard
So
you
I'm
say
here-
that on your episode. You were going to use your Trump check for night vision goggles.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, that's my boy. That's some shit I would do, man.
just ours
I'd
for
buy
guns,
ninja
so.
swords or some stupid shit,
Got
dude.
ninja swords, bitch.
I know, but
Yeah,
they're
just buy
ornamental.
a sword and night vision goggles. So I was there and I kept hearing these noises. I'm like, man, whatever. So I would pop up every now and again, and I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I started hearing these noises because we were by a lake. I started hearing these noises, like I don't know if it was some birds or what it was. And obviously we have the skunk ape here in Florida, and shout out to Florida. Anything is possible here, right? I've been to the Everglades. I've been fishing in the Everglades. I love the Everglades. It's a fucking wild place.
Yeah,
I love Florida. The
I do
Florida
too.
man, you gotta love the Florida man.
I do too. That's what I was telling somebody. I was like, we've lived other places, and what does that say about me that like our lives don't work anywhere except for here?
Right.
Like this is
Yes,
it's our brand of
yes.
crazy. I if we're talking about frequencies and vibes and being drawn to certain places, I mean, like this is just where we belong, man. That's just where it works.
I say it all the time. Yeah. So I kept hearing these noises, and I'm like, just for the hell of it, for the little 4G or 3G that I had, I Googled. I said, is there monkeys in Florida? And bro, do the people want to know if they want to know what they're distracting us from? It is that there is an invasive species of monkey, Rhesus macaques. Look it up. And there are more than 200 of them in Claremont, Florida, Central Florida.
Uh-huh.
And you're talking about the coronavirus having a 6% or a 4% kill rate. These motherfuckers have a herpes strain that has a 20% kill rate.
Damn.
And not only that. So we're talking about the monkeys. We're talking about Planet of the Apes. This is what they're distracting us from. This is why they killed Jeffrey Epstein, because he knew about the monkeys in India. The monkeys in India, with all this going on, there's no tourists to feed the monkeys. The monkeys in India are tearing towns apart,
No
dude.
shit.
Because they're hungry, bro.
Yeah, they're pissed off.
This is our Alex Jones moment right now, because we're gonna
Oh
go.
my god.
The monkeys in Florida have the herpes virus, and this is what they're distracting you
but
from. The
we
frogs
don't-
aren't gay. The monkeys have herpes.
We don't eat the herpy monkeys though.
No,
No,
yeah.
but they scratch us and
They're
they
gonna-
bite us, and
I
you get
stay away from them
infected.
bitches.
You don't gotta fuck them to get it.
yeah,
They
they're
just
gonna
bite
rise
you and
up.
scratch you.
Stay away from them bitches.
They're gonna rise up. They're gonna. What are you gonna do
In India?
No, in fucking Claremont.
Well, then you just shoot them like you do iguanas.
That's why. And see,
Shoot
it
the
all
monkeys.
loops back. That's why we need
Use
to
them
get
for
the,
alligator
we need to
food.
get the guns.
There's plenty of alligators down here. People keep for pets. They got enough fucking mini golf courses. Shoot them goddamn monkeys with the herpes. Feed them to the goddamn alligators and leave it be.
That's what's up. But
'Cause
then the
you
alligators are gonna mutate some
No.
form of fucking
Oh, yeah, we do.
dinosaur herpes.
Yeah, and then we eat
Oh,
alligator.
they already are.
They eat, but we eat alligator. I don't.
Dude, have you been to the Everglades?
Nope.
I have not. I have not been south of
Ruskin?
Venice.
Oh, Venice.
No,
So-
I've been to Fort Myers. I take
Okay.
that back.
Dude, in the Everglades, bro. I've been to I've fished in the Everglades.
Fanboat
The
style.
No, I do bass fish. So I go down there for peacock bass.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
Those are beautiful.
Brazilian species of fish,
They're so
and
pretty.
from the Amazon, not Brazilian. And down there, dude, the crocs, the alligators. Oh my god! Huh. I have a 21-foot boat, bigger than that, dude.
Shut up.
All day, dude. The government down there pays you to kill the anacondas and the pythons, that are,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they pay you. You know, it's something about. So we talked about Skinwalker Ranch. It's something about these places that's just when there's a bunch of land. So I talked about so with this coronavirus going on. I don't know how many times I said I wish there was a plague. Right, the traffic here in Florida is horrible. I wish there was a plague to knock people out. Right, survival of the fittest, Darwinism. And I believe a lot of other people were saying that. So I guess we manifested this in a way into existence and made it happen. And so what was I at?
Your alligators were 21 feet.
No, you're talking about how Florida is just the apex of, of the energy of all this crazy.
So it's a bunch of land, right? So a bunch of acreage of land. Who the hell knows what the hell happens out there? I was out in the Everglades one day and I heard what sounded like a bear.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? There's bears in the Everglades, dude. There's black bears in the Everglades.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, Juan, this is actually a perfect tie-in, and I knew you wanted to talk about the monkeys, and this is a perfect tie-in for the Netflix show that's sweeping the nation right now with the King Tiger.
Did you guys finish it?
Oh, we finished it today. Yeah, we got pretty deep into it. We finished it today, and I just kept I was so
pissed.
disappointed. Well, I was a rage of emotions at this thing. One, I was so pissed that Joe Exotic is not a Florida man, because if there's anyone that could be a poster child for fucking Florida man, it's goddamn Joe Exotic, and he's from Oklahoma. That one right there, I feel cheated. I thought he was from Tampa. I thought he was in Tampa when the show first. So are we going to spoil it for the listeners? Yeah. Oh, yeah. We full spoil. I don't.
I'm sure everybody's seen it.
Well, by now it's the #1 show on Netflix, and no one's got anywhere else to go.
My gosh,
so I mean, I'm sure they fucking have seen it. No, he was in Tampa because of the Big Cat Rescue, and that's where that chick Carol is. And I've seen that Big Cat Rescue the entire time we've lived here, and I've never thought anything about it. Like I just thought that's Florida shit, you know? And then you get into it, and then, see, and that's the where the rage comes from. That's where she said I was upset, because anyone that listens to the show, anyone that knows me knows that I am not a fan of true crime in the slightest. No true crime podcast, no true crime TV. I want to walk in and see her watching How to Kill Your Husband on Oxygen. No more. Operative word, no more.
I used to watch ID all the time.
Right, and that's like red flag. That's like bells and whistles. Like, why are you watching How to Get Away with Killing Your Husband?
It's just interesting how people work.
I'm salty with the podcast because you can start up a true crime podcast tomorrow and be bad, and it will get 5 times as many downloads as we'll get, or anyone else will get. So I get a little salty about it. And it's not my jam. I'm not interested in it. But they suckered me in. They put this fucking, this tiger fucking redneck with the mullet singing country songs with the fucking piercings and shit, which draws you in. And then it's like, plot twist. This is about this bitch that killed her fucking husband and fed him to the tigers. And I'm like, God damn it, they fucking got me. Mm-hmm. And then
there was a bunch of plot twists.
There was. It seemed like every episode there was a plot twist.
A lot of motherfuckers involved.
But the whole time I'm thinking about it, and every time they were in Florida, I was like, this is why this shit happens with these invasive species, because of guys like that, you know, they bring animals to the state that aren't supposed to be here, and then either, you know, they sell them to people that aren't qualified to have them, or those people bite off more than they can chew, and they just fucking let them go. That's why
they thrive here.
That's why we have the python problem, because people just let them go.
Mm-hmm.
And they thrive, dude, because you know, we're in a swamp. Right. And that's the thing. It's always seems like these places. So that's why I believe, you know, the Bigfoot, it could be a possibility, because we talk about there's overpopulation, but there's a lot of places here that you can go where it's just land and land and land and land, and there's nobody for miles, and you can go a day without seeing anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so
I watch all that stuff. I used to watch the Sasquatch show on Travel Channel or whatever it was.
Well, and there was, I mean, like,
I love all that shit. I love all the cryptozoology shit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Chupacabra, Mothman, all that stuff.
But, I mean, like, I'm sure we've all heard, you know, Joe Rogan say it, you know, ad nauseum, how, you know, there actually was an animal called Gigantopithecus, and that's, you know, like basically Bigfoot, and that there's fossil records of that, and that actually is alive. You know, like, whether or not it's the same thing, I mean, that's what we don't know, but it stands to reason if there was an animal, there might be an animal, or they might even be related,
Well,
like,
I'm
it's not
sure
the
there's
same
some
thing.
sort of species that evolved and then they get smaller just like everything else. Because, I mean, alligators and crocodiles used to be 3 times bigger than what they can grow now. And then with evolution in people, their habitats got smaller and that's what happened. They can't grow as big as they used to. There's not enough food to feed them and there's not enough space.
Right.
So all this stuff, man, I don't know if you talk about religion, and I talk about religion a lot on my show, theology, I break it down. I've had doctors on my show with PhDs in church history, theology, and I break it down, and this is all biblical, right? If you want to believe in God or not, whatever you believe in, I believe there's a higher power. I believe there is somebody controlling something, rather that be whoever you want to name him. That is all up to you. So this goes back into, for example, it's a non-canonical book, but you have the Book of Enoch, where you had the Nephilims, and you had the giants, and it was these fallen angels who came down. You had the Watchers, you had the fallen angels, and the Watchers were supposed to watch over El's or God's, Yahweh's creation, right? This experiment. That's why the flat earthers also think that we're in a flat earth, because in the Bible, and the Bible is a wild book. It talks about a hollow earth. It talks about a flat earth. It talks about all these different things. And the Watchers, obviously the daughters of men, they saw them and they started fucking everybody. They started fucking the women. That's how you get the Elohim, which are the demigods. And these, for example, Gilgamesh, Hercules, these god kings, that's how you get these, because they're half angel, half divinity, and half human. So that's how they had all these different powers. And after they were done fucking everybody, all the humans, they started fucking the animals. So that's why I believe Bigfoot, they are descendants of the Nephilim, and they have these special powers. That's why when somebody's tracking a Bigfoot, it disappears. Why? Because it's probably interdimensional. Just how angels are interdimensional. And again, this is all biblical. It goes back like the Greeks. I was having an episode with one of my friends. The Greeks talked about that when they came across some of these structures, they said, who built these structures? They're like, we don't know. The Cyclops. The who? The Cyclopeans, like the Cyclops. So there's talks of that. But then when you have the Nephilim and all the Watchers and everybody, having sex with the animals, that's how you get chimeras, right? That's how you get the Minotaurs, and that's how you get the Harpies, and that's how you get all these different cryptozoological creatures,
Mermaids?
if you will. And it makes a lot of sense.
Juan, this is a hell of a segue, and you don't even know it, because I mean, we're having a great conversation, and I hate to steer it, but you're setting me up so perfectly, and I love you for it. I did pull a Florida story this week, and I knew I was going to do related to animals because of King Tiger and your monkey story. Do you want to know what I have set aside here for you, buddy?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Hit me with it.
I came up with a story, okay, and we'll do it just like we do. We're in Sarasota, where a man had sex with a dolphin named Dolly for a year, okay, and it's so fun that you were going down that road. His name is Malcolm Brenner, and it says he was a self-confessed zoophile who claims he had an affair with a dolphin named Dolly after she seduced him. That's the whole thing. She came on to him. He's now 68. It says Malcolm was a student when he embarked on this relationship with the bottlenose dolphin back in the 70s. He's since written a novel called Wet Goddess.
Well, dolphins are sluts.
God.
Which tells the story of the young man who has a sexual relationship with this dolphin, Ruby, while he's working at a theme park in Sarasota. It says that his book is autobiographical. It's based on his own experiences. The quote was, "I wrote this book for dolphins because we're mistreating these animals and keeping them in captivity," which I've heard they're super smart. Like they're, could be a potential, in quotes, alien themselves, because
definitely.
we don't know what's in the water. I mean, like, this planet's 75% water, and we don't know what's down there, what's going on. They could be the intelligent, people or the intelligent life form from the earth. We don't know. I've heard that before.
They're not smart enough to know that raping is wrong.
Or maybe they are. Maybe they are. And I've heard that too. I've heard that they're rapey. It says Malcolm claims.
Yeah, they are. They're kind of creepy.
It says Malcolm claims to have been in his early 20s when he started this relationship. He was a photographer and he was allowed to take pictures at the pool and get in the pool with the dolphin. He was allowed to swim with them and soon formed a close bond with Dolly. Quote, I was given free access to the dolphins and I became friends with her by going swimming. She's very special.
Fingering her dolphin pussy.
It says Malcolm claims Dolly announced her intentions towards him by positioning herself so that he was rubbing against her. He adds, at first I discouraged her because I wasn't interested. After some time, I thought if this was a woman that would come up with these rationalizations and excuses, Malcolm insists Dolly became more and more aggressive in her pursuit of him. He said, I found it extraordinarily erotic. It's like being with a tiger or a bear. This is an animal that could kill you in 2 seconds if it wanted to.
I don't think he could kill you in 2 seconds. It'd have to bottlenose you to death.
Yeah, maybe he played a lot of Echo the Dolphin back in the day or something.
Dude, I hated that game.
Well, they kill sharks. I mean, I'm pretty sure they could kill
a pod of dolphins kill a shark, not one.
Oh, I like the correct terminology and everything. I was going to say a pack of dolphins.
It's a pod, bitch.
I'm sorry.
I watch Animal Planet too.
He says one night after the theme park closed, he and Dolly, quote, eluded the male dolphins so that they could spend some time alone, and they actually had sex for the first time. He explained there's something quite transcendental about making love with a dolphin. And he always stressed that there's...
It's always wet.
What's that?
She's always wet.
He always stressed that there was nothing abusive about the relationship because they basically have free will, which is what you're saying, like they're very rapey, you know. He added what was repulsive about the relationship was what is repulsive about a relationship where both partners feel and express love for each other. I know what I'm talking about here because after we made love, the dolphin put her snout on my shoulder, embraced me with her flippers, and we stared into each other's eyes for about a minute.
Dude, I need a picture of that shit. That's a goddamn lie.
You know, Chris, this man, you just blew my mind with that story.
He says it's intelligent. He says it's not like a dog trying to hump my leg. He said this is a 400-pound wild dolphin.
Here's the problem. We have kids, right?
Oh, yeah.
Once you start accepting different ideologies and different groups, you got to accept them all. You got to accept them all, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like those people who are that they marry roller coasters. Have you seen that? The people who make out with.
Oh yeah, there was a lady that married a ghost pirate. Did you hear that story?
Yeah, we talked about that like 100 episodes ago. That was early in the podcast.
But there's a show, Strange Addiction. People are addicted. Yeah. There was one dude that was in love with pool toys. Like he had sexual relationships with his blow-up pool toys. That too. So people are just their minds. Maybe they have too many EMFs in their house. I don't know.
This is why we have coronavirus, because there's people fucking dolphins.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he fell in love with this animal so much that like the park closed, right? Like this place where he was working, it closed down, and he like became depressed because like they took this dolphin from him. He says that he called it a relationship because that's what it was, and the dolphin died. He says the dolphin committed suicide by voluntarily stopping to breathe because they were separated.
Oh, she died of a broken heart.
Broken fucking heart. I mean, this is a true love story. Sad. And you know what's fucked up about the whole thing? I mean, like, obviously, like, there's plenty that's fucked up about the whole thing. But right here at the end, it says his relationship didn't break any laws because bestiality was only banned in Florida in 2011. Wow. Fucking 2011? 2011.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
See, but I feel like that relationship is kind of like a grown-ass man trying to get with like an 11-year-old to where they make you feel safe and they make you feel like everything's okay. And then all of a sudden you're fucking and you just think it's normal.
Him or the dolphin?
The dolphin. The dolphin is my 11-year-old girl, okay?
Dude.
Well, so I don't want to get into it, but obviously you have pedophilia, right?
Sure.
It's like if you start accepting bestiality, what makes it any different than accepting pedophilia?
Right.
I know if somebody touched my son, I'd chop him up, I'd make a sandwich, and I'd eat him. Because obviously, you see the innocence in their eyes, and to know that somebody took that away,
right?
It's like you're a piece of shit and you deserve to die. Right?
No, absolutely.
Well, and they make them trust first, which makes it even 100 times worse because this poor child is trusting this adult because that's what we're taught.
Right.
So that makes it 100 times worse when they take advantage of the situation.
Don't try that shit down here, man, because we can make a body disappear real quick. I mean, like, that's one thing that King Tiger taught us too, man. Like, we can make a body disappear real quick, because let's just say that too. That bitch fucking killed her husband.
I wouldn't even make the body disappear.
Them tigers ate that bitch.
If there was a person that touched my kid, I would kill him and I'd string him up in the front yard and put a sign that said, I touched fucking kids. And they can come arrest me.
Fucking Vlad the Impaler style.
That's right.
Fucking put that shit on display.
There should be a fucking law. If you have proof and evidence that somebody touched a kid, you fucking take care of it yourself. They don't go to jail. You just take care of it yourself, provide the evidence, and you're good to go.
Well, that's the beautiful country we're in, right? It's a due process, and if you do that, you go to jail, right? You go to jail if you shoot the person in the head or you do something, you go to jail. Because how many people haven't gone to jail for that? They walk in on a relative, doing something with their kid, and they kill them, and they go to jail.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's messed up, but I don't know. And then you're talking about the Tiger Show. How can you not talk about? So we talked about how it's like right when it starts off, it's like it's easing you, and it's like, oh hey, I'm gay. I'm like, oh okay, that's cool. Then you have the other guy who was a polygamist. I'm like, okay, that's wild. Then they throw in the lady. Oh, she murdered her husband. I'm like, oh my god.
Right.
It's like, no. There's more, baby. There's more. the dude who killed himself.
Yeah, that was
what?
That was the whole thing. I mean, like, the whole thing was kind of a sad story, but I mean that was pretty sad because for whatever reason,
an idiot.
Well, he was, but for whatever reason, I felt like he was kind of trapped there, So he was like high all the time, and he was just fucking around.
Right, they're all doing meth and shit and getting high.
Yeah,
but I don't think he knew the gun was loaded. Or else he wouldn't have did it.
I don't think he did either. I think it was an accident. I don't think he was trying to kill himself.
Right, me either.
Irresponsible gun ownership. That's why you guys need to, again, I'm not a Second Amendment. I sent you a picture on Instagram, by the way. Check your DMs whenever you can. I'm not like this American, Second Amendment. I do believe that we do need reform because I have a cousin of mine who a week after getting his gun fired a warning shot at some guy.
Oh no.
I'm like, dude, this isn't the wild, wild west. Are you stupid? There's people who go to jail for a long time for shooting in the air. So I do believe there should be laws, more laws, because it's very easy to get a gun in the state. And it scares me with all this going on now, all the people who know I have guns and they've contacted me asking me, hey, dude, what gun should I get? And I'm like, dude, you've never touched a gun. And you're like, no, I don't know. I'm like,
that would be us.
that
was us 20 minutes ago or whatever we started this shit.
Absolutely.
We never knew. We've talked about going shooting because there's a couple places out here that would allow you to do that, but you have to rent their guns, and we don't know what we're doing.
You can bring your own. I mean, like you talking about like the shoot straights or whatever,
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure we can go over to Cabela's or whatever, and they can talk us into whatever they feel is right. But like, I still wouldn't know.
I'm part of a gun club in Eustis, so I go to a private range. I don't go to public ranges because, again, first time gun. There's been a lot of people who shoot through the stall.
Thank
right?
you.
Really?
Yeah, dude. There's people who commit suicide all the time in gun ranges, dude.
That's
Shut
insane.
up. Well, I mean, like you saying it, it's shocking, but then after you say it, I'm like, it makes fucking sense. You just never think about it though.
Well, I take it very seriously because again, and this is with everything in life. If as soon as you lose respect for it, and that's when things like how that guy happened. Oh, Ruger won't shoot without the clip in it. Boom.
Right.
It's like no matter what, you shouldn't even be pointing a gun at anybody, no matter what, dude. Unless you're ready to kill him.
Exactly, and it's fucked up. I mean, like they obviously they have security camera and everything, but it's fucked up that they had that all on footage, and like
I'm pretty sure they got the guy murking himself too. But they showed that one guy, and you saw the look on his face. He was terrified.
That's
terrible.
Because you immediately put yourself in that position. Like, what would I do if that happened in front of me? Like, holy shit!
I would probably vomit.
The guy thought it was a joke.
Yeah. He sat there looking for and he was talking
like,
to him.
hello? Like, are you there?
Yeah, he's like, hey, buddy.
Wow.
Well, he even said too. He was like, I knew as soon as it happened, but like,
it's still just the shock.
Still just but you don't. I couldn't imagine. But hey, just to lighten the mood a little bit. How about that fucking guy's singing voice, huh? He could actually sing.
He reminded me of Ronnie Dunn from Brooks and Dunn.
Shut the fuck up.
I enjoyed the songs. I enjoyed it. And then the one that he did with the lookalikes.
Yes. Oh my God. And she was identical. That was a dead ringer for that woman. I thought it was her at first.
Fucking flower
Me too.
crowd.
I thought it was her.
Flower
I said,
crown.
dude, they put aside all their differences and they came together for the arts. They did a music video together, and he's like, no, it was a lookalike. Like, damn, she looked just like her. But that woman seemed evil. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
she seemed like she
Oh,
had.
and her husband's brainwashed for sure.
Manipulative for sure. You can tell.
When they were talking to the family of the ex-wife and the
Yes.
kids or whatever from the missing husband, we'll call him missing,
Don.
even though he's probably, like you said,
Dead.
either was a appetizer for a tiger or he's in the septic tank like they were talking about, like that. That's what that had to happen.
Yeah. They fed that bitch because they digest everything. There's no
Yeah,
bones
the bones
coming
and
out.
everything.
They digest everything. Just throw that bitch an arm.
So I'm saying, man, like it's Florida. We can make a body disappear real easily,
Yeah, so don't piss the Duchess off because she'll make you disappear, bro.
That's right. No, I'll hang you out in the front fucking yard.
Yeah, no, she's gonna put me on display, dude. I told you that's gonna be a cautionary tale for every other motherfucker. But I've made it close to 20 years with this one, so I mean, like, I obviously I'm doing something
I'm not
okay.
so bad.
I guess it would be me that's not so bad. You're the one murking.
Juan has to show me how to use a gun first.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I mean, hey, we could go shoot, man. I got a little bit of diversity there, and again, it's all about having respect for all that. And as long as you have respect, obviously, show the kids, don't touch that. You don't touch this. You get a good safe because a lot of people invest in a bunch of guns. They don't get a safe.
Yeah,
and it's like I told my friend. I said, listen, man, let's say that the shit does hit the fan. And it does start getting really bad where people start robbing and mugging people. It's like you just bought a bunch of food for the guy who has a gun.
Oh yeah, we said that too.
You know what I mean?
With the toilet paper. And I mean, like, I saw this when I was pulling my Florida stories, and I didn't save it just because I was trying my hardest not to talk about, like, Trump and coronavirus. But I mean, like, we're an hour in and we've already done that, so whatever.
Yeah.
But did you see the video of the woman walking out? Like, she bought out the entire supply of the Dollar Tree or something of, like, all their toilet paper. And it's like, why the fuck would you do that? And why would the store sell it to her? The store's bringing it out and loading it into the back of her truck. And this woman's videotaping her, like, like, hey, do you realize what you're doing right now? You're adding to that whole thing. And she told her, mind your own fucking business. And then she said something about, go Trump go or something like that. And then it turned into like a whole other fucking thing, but
The division, Chris, the reptilian overlords. That's what they want. They want us to hate and be divided. The Democrats, Republicans. And again, you see it with this, and it's all part of the psyop, dude. They're distracting us from the monkeys, and they want everybody locked in their houses so they can change the batteries on the birds. I said it. There you go, dude.
Hey, well, and I'm part of a lot of different groups on Facebook, and a lot of them are like conspiracy theory, alien, UFO type things, just so I could see pictures and I could, click on links, like I said, because most of it is just for entertainment. I mean, I do, investigate a little bit, but I mean, I don't know. I got kids. I got a job. I do my thing, and plus I'm not really that motivated, so I'm not going to do a lot of the legwork. But a lot of people are posting right now about the moon potentially being missing. Have you seen that shit? They were like, they want us all inside because the moon's not been in the sky. And I'm like,
well,
this is why
to add
we get
to
a
that,
bad rep.
it's that there's a lot of cultures that remember the moon, and this is what David Icke talks about a lot, that the energy, and obviously you did the Saturn time cube.
Yeah.
And they talk about where the moon wasn't present in the sky. Some cultures talk about it, where the moon didn't exist. And obviously, when the moon was put there, the size of the moon doesn't match the size of the planet. They've launched things at the moon and it rang for like 16 hours. So it's like, is it hollow? Is it a spaceship? What is it? They don't know. We're face locked with it. We don't ever see the other side of it. It's very weird. Mm-hmm. If we went to the moon back in 69, how come we've never been back again with all this technology that
that's what I was going to say. They went up there with technology that's like less powerful than my iPhone.
Yeah.
And they got there then. Now, and the official story will be like, well, it cost a lot of money to go back there, and who's going to fund it, and what are we going to learn, and there's really no reason for it. But like I said before, I'm the kind of person that you need to show me. So if you've never been to a certain part of the moon, you need to fucking go there. Like I told Dutch, I said when the Powerball was super big and it was like billions of dollars and shit, and we were playing Powerball like 2-3 times a week, I'm like, if we win this, I'm going to the Bermuda Triangle. I need you to know that. I'm I'm fucking getting on a boat. We're buying a boat with this Powerball money, and we're going to the fucking Bermuda Triangle because I want to go and I want to see it. And if I get sucked into a fucking other dimension, then so be it. That's what was made for me. That was my destiny. I was supposed to do that shit, but I need to fucking go. That's what's so compelling about this shit is that it's like unknown. It's mystery shit. You know, it's the Indiana Jones in me that wants to figure out the fucking mysteries of the world. You know what I mean?
Well, it's weird that supposedly our Earth rotates and the moon's stationary.
Yeah, it's weird.
Everything. It orbits the Earth.
If it's
so,
if
who
it's
knows
a base.
if we've been to the dark side of the moon or not? Because maybe it rotates like the Earth does. Maybe we did rotate so slow we don't notice.
Well, and I've heard too that when we were there, they discovered something on the moon, and they discovered, you know, people. I don't want to say people because that's, you know, a relative term. They discovered life forms on the moon that told them not to fucking come back, and that's why we haven't been back.
No.
Well, you talk about Hollow Earth. What did Admiral Byrd find? The Vril, right? The Aryans inside, almost like Aryan, right? The people who stopped them and said, "Listen, man," and you told me about the Ashtar Galactic Command. The message that Ashtar gave to that broadcast, and the same message that these people inside Hollow Earth gave Admiral Byrd, is almost the same thing. It was like, listen, you guys have the power of the atom, so the atomic bomb. Mm-hmm. If you guys give this up, we'll share our technology with you guys. And it's like, listen, so Duchess was talking about how some of these animals evolved and turned into certain things. Let's kick it up a notch. I'm going to have Michael P. Masters on my show, and he wrote a book called Identified Flying Objects.
Okay.
And this guy has a PhD in anthropology and evolution and Darwinism. This guy's a legit professor at a university. He says, we talk about aliens, right? Little green men. Mm-hmm. When people describe them, they describe them as, you know, being bipedal, having almost similar features as us. Mm-hmm. He says that aliens are us in the future, time traveling back to study us, just as an archaeologist would study bones and all that stuff. So it's like,
I've thought
that's a possibility. What if Elon Musk in the future, once we reach the singularity that we can live forever with transhumanism, which Jeffrey Epstein was part of that. He wanted to be he was a transhumanist. He was pro-transhumanism. And this man gave more than $200 million a year to scientific research into AI. And he also funded the first AI robot, Sophia, that got the first citizenship out of any other robot. This Sophia was the first one to get a citizenship. And he funded that project.
That's so crazy.
He funded that. So what if this is something, maybe Elon Musk in the future was like, listen, dude, I'm going to charge you X amount of money. We can go back into whatever point in time you want to go. And what if these aliens were like, hey, we want to go see 2020 when these people were losing their minds to this, you know, to this virus or whatever.
Well, that's one of the memes I saw the other day was something about time travel, and it was like I'm going back to 2020, and they were like before or after aliens. And I was like, damn, man.
They won't tell us we have aliens because we'll buy all the toilet paper. This is exactly why they don't tell us.
That's because one person, if you and I are having a conversation and I know the secrets to the universe, and I say, Juan, listen, dude, I've been there. We have a base underneath the Denver airport, and we're working with these aliens, and we have an agreement with them, and they're a entity just like, you know, we have trade relations with foreign countries on this planet. We have relations with them, and we have agreements with them, and this is what we're doing. You could probably wrap your mind around that. And I mean, you're a little bit more open to the possibility anyway, but I mean, like, one person is open to process that information. Now, if I was to get on TV, if I'm the leader of the country, I'm running the free world, and I say, listen, I tell you the exact same thing. We've got a base under the Denver airport, and we're fucking interdimensional, and we're doing all this shit. There's panic in the streets. There's going
to be idiots that go there and try to fucking protest.
There's going to be, it's going to be religious. It's going to be end of days. There's going to be people with their fucking picket signs. This is the apocalypse. This is end of days. It's going to be a whole mass thing. And that's why they can't do it. And I understand that. But you're exactly right. Like that it would be just that if they were actually going to spill the beans on that shit. And that's what's so frustrating about it.
So you're talking about talking to me and me accepting. Ever since I started the podcast, and I've always been into this, the first conspiracy theory that I got into was the Bermuda Triangle, right? The flights that disappeared, flight 119 or flight 19, the ones that disappeared. I can't talk to people anymore, Chris, I can't have a conversation with people anymore because I'll start talking about some shit and I'll lose them, dude. I'll lose them because they can't keep up. They can't process the information. That's what's happening right now. People can't process the information correctly, and you just see their circuits just frying, and they're like, and I'll be at a party or something or a family gathering, and I'll, it's try and start a conversation with somebody, and I'll be like, hey man, did you know that we're descendants from an alien civilization called the Anunnaki? And they're like, dude, I just want to have a beer, man. I'm like,
I was just going to ask you if you caught the Magic game the other night or something.
I can listen to this shit all day. It is so interesting to me.
I dig that about you.
I have an open mind.
Yeah, my fiance hates this shit, dude. And I also talk a lot about psychedelics on my show, and I have a buddy of mine who has done DMT, and he's told me all these different stories of what if we are able. And again, I don't like getting into religion, but there's a lot of the uses of psychedelics have been around for centuries and thousands and thousands of years, and who knows if all these things were, I don't like to say it, but psychedelic trips, right? Mm-hmm. And I've had conversations with a friend of mine where obviously you have psilocybin and you have all these entheogens and stuff like that, where what if these substances were used, and maybe that's why the government doesn't want you to have them, just how they don't want you to listen to music at the 432 hertz, because you're able to unlock something. And again, what really put the nail in the coffin for me was the Gnostics. And the Gnostics believed pretty much that we are gods and we can find divinity through ourselves and through gnosis, which is knowledge. And guess who killed them off? The church. Why? Because the church is a brokered experience to divinity. Once you eliminate the church, you're a threat, right? Once they've already monetized it. And Jesus Christ talked against that, against congregating, and against pretty much corporations. He talked against, and they turned it into exactly what he talked against, right? Against what he was talking about not to do, they turned it into that. And so obviously the Gnostics, they believe this, and they all got wiped out, dude. They all got wiped out. So it's like, do the reptilians, obviously the reptilians know stuff that we don't know, and as if it does, like in Egyptology, if it doesn't fit the narrative, no, that's not true, dude. No, you believe in Atlantis and all this stuff. No, that's not. What if it is true? And what if they don't want us to know? And
it's so easy to write people off. It's so easy to write like, people like you or myself, or even like let's just not talk about like random people that happen to have bought a microphone and produce a internet radio show. Let's talk about, like you said, like people with degrees and people in academia and people like in respectable positions in society. If you say something outside of what the narrative is, then you're automatically your fringe. We don't look to that, and Dutch said something to me forever ago. And I thought at the time I was like, what the fuck you talking about? And she said, what'd you say? What if gravity's fake?
Yeah,
or something?
I was on a rant and I said, gravity's fake. Everybody's fake.
And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And then like, I heard somebody else saying like, no, when there's spiritual things that happen around you, like talking about like just frequencies and shit like that. If something can't be completely explained by science, then it's like, well, it's
woo-woo.
Well, right. And they create those laws of physics and those laws, to put it in a box, you know what I mean? Like to keep that down.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, to elaborate on that, that's called simulacra, right? So when simulacra and simulation, check that book out. It's got to do, it was in the movie The Matrix and stuff like that. It's that we give value to symbols. We give value to things that we made up. And without the value that we gave to it, essentially it's nothing. So at the end of the day, you have quantum physics that's trying to find the correlation between consciousness and the physical world. They don't know. At the end of the day, when they throw out all these numbers, it's a guessing game. String theory, that everything's interconnected, that's a guessing. You can't prove it. And then when they tell you the universe is 13 billion years old. What?
That's what it was. It was like you can manipulate anything to fit into your calculation, and
that's
what I was saying. And then I was like, gravity's probably fucking fake because you can manipulate anything to fit your purpose,
right?
And that's what I mean. Like you can go to college and you can study. Yeah, for either side, you could study all these books. Where are these books coming from? I think right now that it's so much easier for people like Juan, for people like you that are into this shit, to have a platform that a lot more people are staying woke and getting into this shit and figuring out that it's real. It's real shit. Because before, nobody had a platform. Nobody had any what's the word? Not availability. Is it like the accessibility to read up on this stuff or to get into it?
Well, and like I'll build on what you said too, Juan, with like the psychedelics. I mean, like it's been very widely documented about my cookie incident in New Jersey last year. And,
oh, mushmouth.
And you know, I mean, like we'll make light of it because I mean it was a funny situation, but I mean, like up until that point, that's all this was shit I was interested in. I was interested in aliens. I was interested in alternative science. I was interested in black holes. I was interested in like all that type of shit. Dreams. That's my new fucking thing. But up until that point, up until that point, we can go there. I ate that cookie. I went wherever I went, and for the next fucking year, it was like I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop my brain. I couldn't it was just building and building and building, and like that's when all the the dream shit started, and that's when I went further. And like Adam jokes about it now. He's like comes to New Jersey once, one fucking cookie, and I'm like, that's really what happened.
It opened you up because the third eye isn't just something that somebody draws on your face. It really exists. And I feel like when you have an experience like that and your brain has new chemicals that weren't experienced before, that part stays open and then you're able to experience more on a spiritual level.
Look, I've been going to bed with AirPods in, Juan, for the last,
which I think is terrible
3
because
weeks.
I don't need you getting brain radiation.
I pulled up my YouTube right now. The fucking first thing that comes up is the last thing I listen to. 963 hertz sleep music pineal gland activator. It's a fucking 9-hour. It's a 9-hour YouTube video, and I go to bed with my AirPods in. And dude,
I'm like, those things are gonna blow up in your ear. It just makes me nervous.
Whatever, man. It might blow up in my fucking
even though Joe
mind.
Rogan goes in the hot box at 210 degrees with them bitches, and it still freaks me out.
It's what it's done. I mean, like I've talked about it numerous times about I feel like I had like a dimension hopping dream with my buddy Jason Almy, and I've explained that before. And then recently I've been having these like almost like out of body dreams where I do feel like I'm crossing some sort of dimension, and I know how that sounds.
Maybe you're lucid dreaming finally.
It's when I don't know because that's the difference. That's the difference. Like in a normal dream, I feel like I'm watching a movie. In these dreams, the first thing that I remember is me like touching my chest.
Yeah, like
oh
you're
shit, I'm
first
here.
Person.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm first person. You're not watching yourself. You're first person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first one I had, I did that. I'm like, okay, I'm fucking here, and I'm in like a room. I've never seen this room before, and I go to the computer, and the first thing I do is I try to search for her. So I go on like fucking Facebook or social media, whatever it is. I don't know that it was Facebook or whatever, but it was Earth 626's version of social media. I don't fucking know. And I looked for her, and I found her, and I did that stereotypical angry girlfriend thing where I found her, and her status update was something about like she went out the night before and she met somebody new and blah blah blah, and she had such a great time. And I was like, I traveled fucking dimensions, and the first thing I did was come look for you, and you're out fucking with somebody else.
And you know what I told him? I said, what if that was you?
It wasn't me. I just got there.
Yeah, the day after I had such a great date with you.
Whatever, dude. Damage
control.
Well,
to touch on that, I wanted to read you a quote by Terrence McKenna. But yeah, I do also the binaural beats, and I'll listen it throughout the day, and I'll put because all day I'm listening to a podcast or I'm listening to classical music or stuff that you listen to like that, like these binaural beats. It does help the brain. And what you touched on earlier, that we talk about certain things, and when I started my podcast, my first episodes, you see my slow decline in my sanity as I start uncovering things.
Yes.
And the more and the hours and hours of research, the effect that it's had on me. Again, my fiance looks at me differently, right? She hates this shit, and it's whatever, it's a personal growth thing that I'm going through. And so Terrence McKenna has this quote. It says, "The cost of sanity in this society is a certain level of alienation." What does that mean? That because let's say you are more, I don't like the term woke, I think it's lame.
Yeah,
but if let's say you're more woke than somebody else,
I didn't know what other word to use.
They alienate you, right? You alienate yourself because once you start talking about this stuff, it's like, Chris, what the fuck are you saying, man?
Oh yeah,
or Juan, what the fuck are you saying, dude?
Well, I'll tell you, when I just having Nick Hinton, just having that episode on, and then Saturn Time Cube became like fucking like canon for the hashtag No Offense show, because anytime something like happened, anytime some coincidence or singularity or whatever you want to call it happened, it's like, oh, Saturn Time Cube, that's the cube. Like, we text it back and forth. We're on Twitter, you know, doing this shit. Like, I hit Nick in the DM still. Like, we still talk. Like, and now every time I'm watching cartoons and I see a cube, I'm taking pictures of it and I'm sending it to Adam.
Adventure Time.
It's fucking, it's crazy, you know, but like, even ever since then, I could see other people kind of I don't want to say distance himself, but, you know, just kind of like, that dude's on some crazy shit, you know? I don't know if I'm really with that. And I don't know if I'm really with that. That's the fucking thing. Open to everything, sure of nothing, dude. Like, I'm not going to write anything off. Like, people always say too, like, back to religion, people always say, oh, well, you know, like, you don't believe in God and you don't did this and that. And I'm like, I don't believe in the Catholic version of God. I don't believe in organized religion. I don't believe in that. Do I believe in a higher power? Yeah, I don't know what you want to call it, but I believe in something. I believe in spirituality, and I know that's even, you know, like fringe and woo woo. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. You know what I mean? Like, I get how that sounds. That, bro. Dude, I get how it sounds. You know, it sounds fucked up, but it's the truth. It's the truth, man. And I get eye rolls from her too, dude. I'm promise you, I relate to you so hard on that, because like some stuff she's with me, and then some stuff like I'll just be sitting there and I'll like be going over something and I'll tell her the same thing. I'm like, I feel like I'm losing my mind, you know, and then it's just like right there, head shakes, eye rolls, you know, like I
don't really think you're losing your mind. I just think that you're digging into something that's deeper than what you're ready to. I
had an experience a couple weeks ago, and I don't even know that I told her this, but I couldn't sleep, and I came downstairs and I got on my Xbox, and I played Xbox for a couple hours, like in the middle of the night. I came down at like midnight and I played till like 2 a.m. And then I went upstairs and I threw the AirPods in, and when I closed my eyes, you know, like I put on the beats or whatever, I closed my eyes, like all I could get was these visuals, these intense fucking visuals of like characters, like almost like an alphabet of a language I didn't understand, just like flying at my fucking face, you know, like think about like the characters in the Matrix,
game
you know,
playing?
I was playing fucking Civilization, dude. It had nothing to do with fucking shit like that.
Okay.
But it's just like this intense fucking like visuals of all these characters flying at my face, and then I'm gone. I was asleep or whatever, wherever I went, and I woke up and I didn't know anything about it. But I'm like, that's never happened to me before outside of the tank. And I've only been in the float tank a couple of times, but that's the only other time that shit like that happens. You know?
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you do sensory deprivation, because I do that as well.
I've done it a couple times, and I'm actually due to go. I think I need to go right now and kind of clear out the old brain and process some of this shit.
I just want to go and not try to like float on my stomach.
I brought her the first time, and she was in there doing somersaults and shit. She's like, I'm in a swim pool in the dark. I don't even give a fuck about nothing.
You do it in the nude though?
Yeah.
Or you have something on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm butt naked all the time, baby.
Yeah, so I do sensory deprivation. I wanted to read you another quote, and again, because I've experienced the same dogma that, you know, people told me, oh, if you don't, because I was raised Christian Pentecostal, dude, and I was in the church for a long time, and I come from a Christian background.
I went to private school, man. I grew up in that where church was part of the curriculum.
Yeah, so all this heresy and me just speaking about this is, you know, it's heretical, and so. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. That's Aristotle, right? Mm-hmm. So just because I talk about all these things, I don't believe everything that I talk about.
Sure.
You know, a lot of things I've come across a lot of things, and Ashtar Command, I don't believe in that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't believe in all that stuff.
You know what? That was one of the first ones that kind of brought me back around, because I like...
Well, because them bitches were hot. That's why.
Well, yeah, Pleiadians are fucking hot, man. I mean, if I gotta go somewhere, man, take me to the Pleiades. Right. That's where I want to go.
Sweetest bitches that need to be on screen.
Yeah, some hot ass IKEA bitches come and pick me up, man. But I'm with you. But I listened to a video on YouTube, and it was one of those where it was like completely voiced by an AI. It was like the computerized voice for half an hour talking. And
half an hour. The video you watch is like 9 hours long.
Well, there's a lot of them. I mean, like, I subscribe to a lot of that shit.
Okay.
But like, they were saying how like basically every leader of religion, like Jesus, Muhammad, you know, all of them, they're all part of the Ashtar Galactic Command. And I was like, this is like the religious super friends. I'm here for it, dude. Like, this is like, this is the Avengers of the fucking real world, man. All the goddamn, they're all there. They're all there uniting to save humanity. Like they're just
It all comes full circle, dude.
Yes.
It once you figure everything out and you start connecting the dots, it's all one big circle. And I'll blow your mind here, dude. One thing I came up with, you talk about the Saturn time cube. I said, why the fuck do we need a space force? And I figured it out. We're trying to fucking get to Saturn, bro.
I hope so.
We want to go to Saturn. That's why.
Listen, listen. If you haven't listened to that episode with us and Nick, that's one thing I asked him, and I feel like such an idiot because I got a guy like Jason Almy on there who's got 17 fucking degrees, and he's going to tell you how smart he is. But I'm like, if we know that this is on Saturn, and I know it takes 6 years to get there, but if we know that this storm is on the top of Saturn, and we think that there's this, black cube, and this is all the whole one world government, and everything is based on the fucking ideals of worshiping the black cube of Saturn and all that shit, why don't we just go there? And they're all, well, don't you even know Saturn is a gas giant, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but is it though? Like,
you don't know. You can't confirm that, dude.
Yes. I'm like, and that's what, you can't be so sure of shit. Like me and Jason Almy got into a little bit of an argument the other day after hearing Alex Jones on Tinfoil Hats, because he's like, he loses me when he starts talking about the interdimensional vampires and that, and I'm like, that's what I'm here for, player. Like, I want to hear about that shit. And he's like,
I love all that shit.
But that's not real. And how do you know? How can you, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, say that that's not real? I mean, is it probable? Probably fucking not. But is it?
Well, that's where it comes in, right? So I talk about the reptilian overlord. That's where it comes in. So you say yes, but he's been so indoctrinated, right? Because we're always indoctrinated since the very beginning. What do they teach us in school? This is this is that. And since if you're at the very beginning, believing that all your life, once somebody tells you, hey, look, dude, that's not that. It's like you're going to hell in somebody else's religion and they're going to hell in my religion. So which is right? We can't all be right at the same time. There's just no way. Yep. It's the same shit with different names. It's all the same thing together with different names. And again, I go deep into the Bible, and what bugs me is that there's the different translations say different things of the same text. Right. And not only that, but the people who translate it sometimes make mistakes. And if you change one word on anything like that, it changes the complete meaning of something. It can change it completely. And it's like, oh, sorry, that day I was kind of drowsy and I translated the word wrong. And it's like, yeah, but that's what it is now. People live like the Dark Ages. People live by religion, and that's what they live by. And they took it such a literal sense. And I believe there's a mystical comprehension to everything and a literal comprehension to everything. And if you don't know how to balance that out, again, that's where the division comes in, right? No, sure. I've had people tell me, oh, you worship Satan. I'm like, I don't worship Satan, dude. No. I was telling them about the Gnostics, and they're like, I'm like, dude, I'm just a messenger. I'm just telling you what I'm learning, what I know about. You asked me what they were about, and I told you, like, no, you worship Satan. I'm like, no, I don't. But again, they isolate you and they put you in a box, and that's where you get the division, right? And it's been proven. And when you're stressed out, what's happening right now, this paranoia, at fear and anxiety raises your cortisol levels, and that lowers down your immune system and just makes you more susceptible to things. And again, a lot of people think, you have people like who they give them a placebo and they get healed. Why? Because they think that they're being treated when they're really not. So it was just their mind the whole time, dude.
Right.
Well, and they'll tell you that we don't know, like we don't use 10% of our brain is all we use, which tells me that you don't know about 90% of what's going on in our heads. So how can you tell me beyond a shadow of a doubt that what I'm saying to you is wrong and what you're saying to me is right? I mean, all you're doing is you're looking at scientific explanation. So you can conduct an experiment and you can see the results. And I appreciate that. I understand that because, like I said, you're showing me, and that's what's important to me. And I get it, but you also have to remain open to the possibility that you don't fucking know everything.
We see point. So you're talking about different dimensions and different frequencies. We see 0.0025 of the light spectrum.
I had that wrote too.
what is going around us right now that we can't fucking see with our human eye or hear the frequencies going on now? Like when you blow a dog whistle, the dog goes crazy. You don't hear shit. The dog is going crazy. Why? Because he hears it. It's the same thing. That's why the Duchess talked about the paranormal. Mm-hmm. I believe there's shit going on around us right now that we can't see, that maybe back then people were able to tap into through meditation, through whatever, through psychedelics, through whatever the fuck, that they were able to see these things. And maybe, I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, feel like that's why they say children see more than adults do, because we lock our brains up at a certain age. And they're so open and innocent that everything comes to them. So they're
I see my son doing that.
They're not biased. Yeah, they're blank slate.
Well, and we've told this story before, and we can end on this because we're getting a little close on time. But I mean, shit, I could talk to you about this shit all night, dude. We're gonna have to have you back. We've told this story before about when our oldest son was younger, and we rented a house in Apollo Beach. It was a little bit south of Tampa, and we were having all types of paranormal experience in that house. And at that point in my life, I was a little bit more closed off. I wasn't subscribing to it like she does, because she's, like I said, she's watching the Travel Channel and she's watching Ghost Adventures and she's watching all this, like,
Casadega.
She's watching these shows that are very reality TV-esque, which makes me go, that's bullshit. But then when it happens to you, it shifts your thoughts a little bit on it. And when my son is telling me I don't want to sleep in that room because the shadow's in there, it might be kid shit. You start writing it off because it's just little kid shit. There's a monster in my room or whatever. But then every night, okay, and I'll frame it up again. I've told this story numerous times, so I mean, for old listeners, I mean, I apologize, but Aliens is my jam, and it was right at the time when the movie Dark Skies came out. Have you ever seen that?
I believe so, yes.
With Joaquin Phoenix.
No, that was not Dark Skies. That was Signs, baby.
Oh, Signs is my favorite alien movie.
Well, I didn't ask what your favorite was. I'm telling a fucking story. So Dark Skies, it's not the best movie per se, but the premise is these aliens are visiting this family and they're fucking with the family to get to the kids.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Well, they end up taking the kid. Bloodline.
Yeah, they end up taking the one kid. Mm-hmm. And it fucked with me because I was a new dad. I mean, like our oldest was 3 at the time, and it represented like being powerless to protect your kid. And that really fucked with me. Like, on top of the fact that, like I was there for aliens, not being able to stop something that was fucking with your kid really got to me. And in the movie, every night at 3 a.m. is when these aliens would come and fuck with the kid. So, fast forward a couple weeks later, my kid's having problems sleeping, and every night he comes into my room, it just happens to be 3 a.m. So I'm connecting dots. I'm like, it's just like the movie. It's just like the movie. Something's fucking happening.
Too, supposedly.
And he's putting it all together with the shadow and this and that. Well, one night I'm asleep, and I get woken up out of a dead sleep to somebody hitting me on the bottom of my foot. Okay, I'm sleeping on my stomach. Mm-hmm. I'm sleeping on my stomach.
I got chills.
I wake up to just like that on the bottom of my foot, to where it startles me awake, and I sit up. She's asleep. No one else is in the room. I'm looking around, and there's nothing. Because we had a big dog at the time.
Yeah, but he was asleep in the bed with us.
Yeah, I was looking for him because I thought, he stood high. He was a 140-pound German Shepherd.
Shepherd.
I thought maybe he might have walked by and bumped me or something, hit me with his tail, something, and he wasn't around. So I'm sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? No sooner than I'm like trying to make sense of this situation, I see my son walking through the kitchen to get to our room, like something happened to him. And he was talking about the fucking shadow. So I pull him up into bed, and we just try to go back to sleep and ignore it or whatever. The next day, we're in his room playing, and he looks over my shoulder, gets annoyed at me, and says, "Come on, Dad, let's get out of here. The shadow's here."
Dude, I got chills, bro.
I'm like, what the? And at that point, I'm like, what the fuck, man? What is going on? Because you don't know what to do, man. And I've never been that guy. I've never been that guy that's like, oh, my house is haunted and this and that. But I always felt like there was eyes on me in that house. I always felt like, like just something was fucking off. So we ended up switching his room and everything, and we got him out of there, and we moved out shortly after. And that's when we went back to Chicago. And when we were in Chicago and we got into our own apartment there, we were sitting in his room there, and he tells me he's playing and he's happy, and he says, I like Chicago so much better. And I said, why is that? Well, there's no shadows at this house. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
holy shit.
This is almost 2 years later. He's at this point, he's like, 5 or 6 years old. So he's thinking back to this, fucked up dark time in his life where he was being fucked with by something at this house. And
sometimes
he's
still
grateful.
Mentions it, and he's 10.
Well, and the podcast has brought all this back up because we told this, I think it was around Halloween last year. We were talking about ghost stories and shit. And she told me, she was like, Dutch told me she used to hear somebody calling her name in that house. Mm-hmm. And she never told me that in the moment. I never knew that.
I thought it was like, it's that moment right before you fall asleep. And I thought maybe it was just like my subconscious, like in my ear. So I never thought anything. I really never thought anything of that.
It was all
but
that.
Even my sister, she stayed with us for a little while, and she didn't like to sleep in that room without our dog in there with her.
Something was just always off.
Yeah.
And
Well, I see my son sometimes, like, he'll be like, hi. And, like, I'll look over and it's nothing. I'm like, who the hell are you saying hi to? You know, it's because I do believe that. I do believe that they're able to see things that we're not able to see. And it's
100%.
fucking
Same
wild.
thing like animals, man. They can see shit too. But Jake never really reacted.
Sometimes he would get that hair on his back standing up, you know, like sometimes.
But nothing like growly or anything.
No. Well, after we moved out, that's what I was going to say too. After we moved out, we found out our landlord told me that his wife's aunt did live in that house and she did die in that house.
Yeah.
So we were like,
might have been
maybe
that.
it was just kind of residual off of that. I don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody does know. And that's the thing. When I tell this story, we get a little bit of side eye from people, you know, but I mean, it fucking happened to me. And that's the only reason I repeat it is because physically something fucking happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
We're energy, and remember the law of thermodynamics is energy can't be destroyed. It's only transformed, right?
Right.
So what happens to all this energy that it goes somewhere. We can't see it, but it goes somewhere. I mean, who knows, dude? Again, it's all a possibility. I'm open to all that shit.
Open to everything and sure nothing.
So when people are telling you go towards the light, you can go towards the light, but then you can travel back too. You don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
Juan, I could do this all night with you, brother, but we're running time, and I heard my kid yelling upstairs. So I mean, we gotta figure that out. Tell us, and our listeners where they can check you out and check out your podcast.
So if you want to hear me talk about a bunch of random crazy shit, such as what we talked about here, at the Juan Podcast on social media, Instagram, and my website is the juanpodcast.com, and I'm on all platforms: Google, Apple, Spotify. Anywhere you can find a podcast, I'm on there. And again, I have two shows, one that I try and do weekly with my fiance or another guest where I talk about current events. Mm-hmm. And then obviously I have my main show where I have guests come on and we talk about all this craziness.
I love it. We're gonna have to do it again soon. We actually, me and Jason and Adam, we recorded our first episode of that Creatures in the Night podcast last night. Where we're just gonna, because I feel like this is seeping a little bit too much into the main show, you know, where I want to keep it kind of light, you know, over here and talk about, you know, goofy Florida shit and what we watched on TV. But we got an outlet for that, and we did mention last night that we want to get you on there and talk too. So we're gonna have to do that. I'd love to do it again soon, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. You got to come on my show, man. And again, I'm a fan of the show. Was really happy I could get on, and I had a lot of fun, man.
No, I appreciate it, dude. This has been another episode of the Hashtag No Offense Show. If you're new to us, thanks for giving us a shot. We're also available everywhere: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, you know, the whole thing. Check us out on social media at HTNOS everywhere, HTNOS.com. Give us a call, leave us a message on the voicemail, too. We haven't had a lot of calls lately. It's 813-773-5706. And we are also part of the Inner Circle Podcast Network, which is home to me and all of my friends. It's the Simmons and More podcast, Shit Happens When You Party Naked, The Hood Diner, The Plunge, Failing Hollywood, and all the original shows that we bring you as well. Sports is back in full swing, even though there's no sports. But I mean, that's if you've listened to Inner Circle Sports, you know we talk about very little sports on the show.
Adjacent.
So yeah, I mean that's back in full swing. Slimmer Circle's going on. Jason's recording stuff for that, and also, like I said, look for the Creatures of the Night that'll be dropping soon. This young lady is the Duchess Watsky.
You're the real Watsky everywhere,
and we are the Hashtag No Offense Show. Thanks again, Juan.
Thank you.